This is an introduction video to the Canute Console, the full page Braille workstation from Bristol Braille Technology, a 360 cell Braille display that's 40 cells by 9 lines, paired with a 13-inch high contrast visual monitor which is synchronized to that Braille display, which also has 40 characters wide by 9 lines of text, and a pull-out QWERTY keyboard which stows away underneath the display. The device is about 14 inches left to right, about 8 inches front to back, and it is black with high contrast white Braille cells. The Braille quality is signage, so you can't compress it. It's very hard. It changes line by line from the top down. When we open this up in the Canute Console mode. Now, console mode is where all the interactive applications happen, and we've started out in a launcher menu which has a series of different options. The top line by convention for all of our applications is the title line. The bottom line, if it is necessary, is the status line, and then the middle ones gives you the whole context. This allows us to create applications which have the full capacity of a 9-line device, meaning that you can see the context of paragraphs. And indeed right now we are in a manual, the English language manual, and on screen right now you can see the title, the author, the last update, the heading, and then the start of the first paragraph. That's all on screen at once, and it's exactly the same vertical layout between the visual monitor and the Braille display. This is in order to facilitate co-working, and so that a blind person working in programming, creating an application, or reviewing someone else's text or numbers can know that what they are seeing and what they are doing and what they are feeling is all exactly the same as it would be visually. Going back to the console mode launcher now, and we're going to look at a few different applications on the Canute console. In this video we're going to concentrate on looking at prose, and then we're going to, as we have just done in the manual, and then we're going to look at charts. One of the best illustrations of the advantages of a 9-line Braille display with 40 characters wide is the File Explorer. This has a tree view, which means that you can see the indentation of certain directories belonging inside other directories, and on the far right hand side you then have the number of subdirectories and files within those. You can also see on the bottom line a status line showing what the command would be, because this device is running Linux. You don't need to use the command line, but you can fall back into it, and it's a very powerful device for computer science, although you don't need to engage with that if you don't want to. We can also use this file manager to open up, for example, the explorer.py file here, and then edit it ourselves. This is a device intended to encourage computer science, because a language like Python is very important to be able to see the structure of the file with all the indentation. As it is though, we are going to look at word processing. So we have gone inside the BBT directory, which is our username, then inside demos, and inside that is the Explorer, which is where the actual application we're using right now. Inside that is text documents. All these are indented in, and you can see all of this on screen at once and feel it all on screen at once. And now we're going to select, using the line routing buttons on the left hand side, we're going to select a file which is nukwordtemplate.docx. It opens a new menu. You can also, and I am here also using the QWERTY keyboard and the arrow keys on the QWERTY keyboard. So you can use the thumb buttons at the front of the device, the row selection buttons, and you can navigate using the cursor using the QWERTY keyboard. We're going to open this template file as a plain text document, as a read-only document. What this does is it takes any conventional format for rich text, and it uses an intermediary format in order to allow you to see the structure of it with different headings indented at different levels. Options available for working with files include read-only for plain text and for rich text documents. It includes an editing mode. You can look at something as a print view when it is a PDF. This is especially interesting and unique because this allows you to look in Braille at how something will come out when printed visually. And there is other options like backing something up, and very interestingly generating a graph, which we shall come back to later. Right now we've opened this as a read-only document, and at the top it is giving us our heading information. We have just opened this as a read-only document, and we have the abstract, we have the author. We've just scrolled down, then we can see various levels of headings all indented, and that's even more powerful when you are looking at more structured information such as a Python file or such as a table. We've gone back to the Explorer now, and we're going back into demos, using now the arrow keys on the QWERTY keyboard to navigate and the router buttons to select. And now we're going to look at another application of the Canute console where a 360 cell Braille display, 40 cells by 9 lines, really flies, and that's creating graphs and charts. We have an application on here which means that you can feed in any CSV which has been formatted with columns of data that can then be transformed using our built-in function into an automatically generated graph. We have now selected a file called ukminmaxtemp.csv, that's UK minimum and maximum temperature. This is an example file that comes built into the application. And we're opening this in read-only mode just so that we can see the CSV as though it were a text file. This has not been structured. In a later video we will be looking at a well-structured Excel file that the user can navigate around and interact with. That spreadsheets are a wonderful application of the Canute console. But we're just looking at this as a comma-separated value text file, and even then you can feel and you can see how the columns line up, and you can really allow for easy parsing of data to be able to check how the figures align and see where they change. But we're going to go beyond that now. We're going to feed that file, ukminmaxtemp, the average temperatures over a period of time, we're going to feed that into the graph generator. This is an automatically created graph using a function called grid, the Canute grid. The top line, once again, is the title line. On the right hand side it has the page number out of page numbers. That just says 1 out of 2, and it demonstrates that this graph will overflow over to 2 screens. On the bottom line we have the status. In this instance the status says year 2023, month February. And then in between that, on the second line, so in the second line of the device, we have the headings, J, F, M, 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 J, J, A. These are the month headings, and you can see that because when the cursor is over them, then the Braille display and the visual monitor refreshes the status line to give you the information under your cursor. I have now taken the cursor down to the second column along, and on the rest of the display is a waveform, essentially, which shows the 3 different levels: the high temperature, the mean temperature, and the low temperature. High represented by H, low represented by L. And these are all on display at once for a period of over a year. And you can easily compare and contrast them and find the highs and the lows. We are not doing this as dotty graphics. That's incredibly low resolution compared to what you can do by using Braille characters to refer to a key, in this instance the status line, which gives much more information. That status line can also trigger more information. If you click on it, then you can create an application where selecting that status line launches another application or launches another window with more information about that data point. As we got to the edge of the screen, the status line gave us the option to go next. It does not refresh the chart under your hands unless you make it refresh. That is a design decision, because having spent a lot of time researching this, we have found that the important thing is to be able to navigate yourself. We have other applications on here like cities, a top-down view of cities, which uses the same principle and is incredibly powerful. And the important thing is to allow people to accustom themselves to navigating around a grid view of Braille characters. That is the Canute console, doing some basic tasks, some very exciting tasks involving the ability to create tactile charts and to create tree views, look at documents with the proper headings. In later videos we're going to go into more detail on other applications, including computer science, that's programming, but also computer-aided design, tables and mapping. If you're interested in finding out more about the Canute Console Premium, visit bristolbraille.org.